Thanks so much for being with us on Boardroom Buzz.
Thanks so much for having me.
So there's a lot going on in the macro and the business landscape. What do you think is the number one thing that directors should be aware of to oversee their boards more effectively?
Well, there are lots of key issues that boards need to be dealing with in today's environment. But I think the thing that ties them all together is really the culture and the composition of the board. And because without the right culture and without the right composition, boards are not prepared to deal with all the changes that are going on in today's world. So it starts with who's in the room, right? Do they have the right skills? Do they have the right background? And do they bring the right level of multi-dimensional diversity? Because there's a lot of talk about gender and racial diversity, but multi-generational diversity is another key aspect. Geographic diversity, international diversity. There are just so many dimensions to diversity, and I think boards need to be paying more attention to those and making sure that there's the right culture in the boardroom to be able to really take on today's issues head on.
And what's your advice for aspiring directors?
Well, I think if you want to be on the board, it starts with a good match, right? Do you have the right industry skill sets? What are the industries that are going to be right for you? And what are the size companies that are congruent with your background? And what impact can you have? So I think the match is the first thing. I think the second thing to really think about is the packaging. How are you putting together your elevator speech? How are you developing your bio, your resume, and really being able to get out there and tell your message about why you would be a great director? And then the third is about the conversation, right? When you get down to the interview, tactics, like, are you having a peer-to-peer conversation? Does it feel really natural and authentic? Are you at the right level of detail instead of being really driving down into the weeds? Are you staying at a strategic level? And are you asking great questions? Because that's what board members do.
I think that's really great advice. Is there an experience outside the boardroom that surprisingly influenced the way that you approach your role as a director?
Well, I have spent the last 2 decades very much focused on diversity and inclusion in the C-suite and in the boardroom. And through that, I've tried to develop my own skills around inclusion. And reflecting on this, I think a couple of the books that I have read that really helped me personally to develop my own level of empathy and understanding of the world were Just Mercy and Becoming Mrs. Burton. And both of those are true stories about individuals that were really brought down by our criminal justice system and how they redeemed themselves and went on to lead a more hopeful life. And I think that those elements really helped me to have better awareness of what's going on in the world, better awareness of my own privilege, have hope, see the resilience of the human spirit, and I think helped me to become deeper as an individual and as a director.
Well, thanks for being with us on Boardroom Buzz.
Thanks for having me.